Is everyone full up from lunch? Ready to fall asleep? No? Keep you awake? Thank you for joining us today. My name is Sam Barbie from Learning Pool. I'm the Sales and Marketing Director at Learning Pool. And I've also got my colleague, Owen Dunahee, who is one of our senior content developers at Learning Pool. He's going to be doing the fun stuff that you want to see in the actual tool in action. So we're going to be talking about Adapt today and about making responsive content that's as easy as ABC. But more than that, we're going to be talking a little bit further about really bringing some power to the L&D role and giving you some agility, flexibility, and scalability within your job role and within your organization to deliver some beautiful, lovely, elegant, responsive content. We're going to be showcasing some of the new stuff we've been doing along with covering some of the old stuff. But before we get started, show of hands really quick. How many of you are familiar or even heard of Adapt before? Show of hands. A few of you. Back in the corner is the... Very good. Anyone, show of hands, using Adapt as a tool? 1, 2 people. Very good. Okay, so we have a few people that are familiar with it. I'm going to give a bit of background and then turn over to Owen. So Adapt in its kind of history is an open source project of which Learning Pool is a founding partner with the likes of Kenio and Sponge. We've been developing initially the framework, which is for technical people, and then Learning Pool has led on the development of the authoring tool, the builder. So the online builder, so non-techie people can build content, and we'll be showing you that builder today. Over the last year, we've been delivering this service to over 250 customers. We have over 2,000 authors that have been creating content in the builder. So we have a lot of use cases around actually the use of the builder, the impact of that within their organizations, and their role within their organizations, which we want to talk about a little bit today. So Adapt creates great learning that's fully responsive. And what it does is it really shifts from this notion of page-turning e-learning to deep scrolling and is intelligently responsive and makes it accessible for non-technical people to develop. So from those talking to our customers, we've been with 300 customers over the last 2 months. We've run 7 events and getting a lot of feedback. And these are the things that our customers say why they like it. You know, it gives them the ability to deliver something that is very flexible so that now they've got this deep scrolling web-based type content. So now they're starting to use this content not as SCORM learning, but actually delivering it as web-based content and integrating it even into websites, publishing it as HTML5, and it looks as beautiful as their lovely public-facing websites, and doing this to engage graduate development programs and recruitment. We're going to show you a project that we've done with e-learning for health and the Royal College of Pediatrics on educating parents on children with mental illness, and actually using this as a resource that's embedded in the MindEd project's website. That's really quite useful. We've also seen stuff that is easy to use. The builder is so easy to use that now it's given L&D scalability within the organization, so that it is so easy to use that they can actually engage their subject matter experts and start to collaboratively build content on scale with subject matter experts on collaboration. We'll talk about some of the roadmap of how we're looking at roles and permissions to enable the management of that in the back end. One of the other good things that Owen's going to talk about today is around the templates. So we don't use templates, we use components. Components are the interactions within the builder. So we currently support over 18 components within our version of the builder that we deliver as a service, and we've got some new fun ones that we're going to show you today. Just a bit of background on how Adapt works. So Adapt works on a principle of what we call, instead of a section, is called a page. So on this deep scrolling page, you build your content using ABC. Articles, which then put in your blocks, which hold your components, which are your content, okay? So you have this ability to ABC, build your content. So it may look something like this. You might have some text on the left, a video on the right, and a graphic in the middle. And based on how you reconfigure that, Owen will show you, different components will reconfigure differently and be optimized for that device so that people can use this anytime, anywhere on the device of their choice. That is a brief run through and overview. I'm going to turn it over to Owen, who's going to show you a run through of the builder, how easy it is to use, the flexibility of it, and then he's going to show you some examples of different components, how you can edit the content. So one of the things that our customers love is that they can build content really quickly. Also, we have over 7 catalogs of content that are built and adapt. So they get a training request in, they first go to a catalog that they may have and say, I want to repurpose a catalog rather than build from scratch. So our customers are now have the agility to deliver content in hours and days, not weeks and months. That is bespoke for their, so it's giving bespoke a rapid capability there. So I'm going to turn it over to Owen now, and he's going to show you some of the content.
Thanks very much, Sam. So as Sam says, we're going to just run through some of the basics of Adapt and some of the new ways we've taken the tool forward over recent months. And to do that, we're going to demo a few different modules that we've been working on. For anyone who's new to the world of Adapt, and it seems like there's a few here, we have this particular module called Understanding Adapt Components. It lives in a place called Learning Pool Academy, which is a purpose-built LMS for all our customers, providing free in-depth training on all our products, including Adapt. And this module is particularly useful, we think, for anyone who's trying to get to grips with the various components that are available. So the first thing that people mention when they use Adapt is how easy it is to use. There are three main sort of aspects that make up an Adapt course. You have the theme, first of all, second, the content, and third, the graphics. So the theme first, so what we mean by that is kind of the overall look and feel of the course. So that's dictated in this case by a theme that we make readily available in the Adapt Builder called Salsa. And it's fully customizable, so you can change the logos, you can change the big background images that you see here, and the colors and whatnot, and obviously any text as well. So I'm just going to go in the first section, which is presentation components, and show you some of the components that are available. So first of all, this is just a simple text component, which sits full width on the screen. This one's a graphic component. So just to show you what this, we talk often about the responsiveness of Adapt and how it adapts to different devices. So in this instance, you see a graphic which has got 3 rows and 3 columns, and you might think whenever you knock that down to a mobile size screen, the text could be a bit hard to read and it might be a bit fiddly. So whenever you drop it down to roughly a mobile size and scroll down, you can see how the graphic responds and changes with that, so it turns into one single column, and it generally just works better on a mobile size screen. The next one here is an accordion component, which is a good way of displaying quite a lot of text without actually having a lot of text on the screen, because that can tend to put users off. So you break it up into little chunks like so. Some of the more advanced presentation components are a narrative, which is good for telling a story, so you can move through stages or steps in a process where you have a graphic and a piece of text associated with one another. And then another one here is hot graphic, and again this is a good way of displaying quite a lot of content on the screen at once. So you've got a large graphic here, and then these little pin icons. When you click on each one, you've got a sub-graphic and then an associated piece of text. So just to dive into the Adapt Builder and show you how that works, this is the same course. You've got your 2 sections of the course here, presentation components and question components, or pages, as Sam mentioned. So if I click into presentation components, this is all the exact same content that we've just scrolled through, but laid out in an edit screen. It's quite similar to WordPress, if anyone's familiar with that. And here we've got the hot graphic that I've just been showing. If I double click on that, you can see how that's edited behind the scenes. You've got the title, you've got your body text, which is basically just a little piece of introductory text. You've got your main graphic here, and then if I scroll down, you've got the option to edit your hot graphic pins. So if I click on that, you can see the 3 pins, and I can move those around to anywhere on the graphic. And then if I click on one on each one, I can either delete it or click on edit, and then edit the text and associated sub-graphic. Now most of the components, well, pretty much all the components are quite similar really. Some have a bit more fields than others to fill out, but they all follow more or less the same process. So once you've mastered one, you've pretty much mastered them all. And as you can see, it's pretty easy to use. So just going back into the course here, some of the other presentation components that we use, this is a new one that we've developed recently called Flipchart. It's just a show and tell component, so you might set it up so that the user needs to have a think about something. They might see an image with something on it and say, what would you do in such and such a situation? And then they click on the actual image itself and they get an answer or a piece of text or a story behind it. And you can set up a couple side by side like that as well. And then we have a media component which just streams video from YouTube or from Vimeo or from anywhere else. You've got the iframe component where you can embed content either by, you can stream video through that, or in this case we've used Google Maps, as you can see. And then lastly, or not lastly, we've got the reveal component first, which is quite similar to Flipkart. It's a bit of a show and tell thing where you click on the arrow and you get either a graphic or some more text. And then this one is the branching component. Now I'm going to talk about this in a little more detail in another course that I want to show in a little second, but just to give you a sort of a brief overview of what branching is, it's a favorite of ours really, because you can build real complex scenarios and the user's given choices at each stage in the scenario and they play a role as they go through, and each choice that they make then has a consequence which informs the next stage and so on. And then, so each user can have a completely different experience and a different path through the learning, and they'll learn by the mistakes that they make really. But as I say, I'll show another version of that in a little bit. I'm going to move on to the second section in this, which is question components. So a lot of the stuff that you'll be used to in other authoring tools, such as multiple choice, matching, there's graphical multiple choice, text input. This one's called the slider, where you can move the slider to somewhere on the scale and then click on submit. Open text input, where you can input quite a lot of text and then compare that with a model answer or a suggested answer. Stacker, which is one that again I'm going to come back to in a little bit. That's a new one that we've developed. And then hidden hotspots, which is another new one. And this one's quite interesting in that you can click anywhere on a graphic and then be told whether you've clicked on the right area or not. So in this example, we've got an office scene. It's taken from one of our health and safety modules, and the user has to identify areas where there may be a hazard or a potential risk. So if I click anywhere on the image, it tells me how many I've got remaining here. If I want to change one, I can just click on the hotspot again and it deletes it, and then I can re-add it. So I'll just put a few random ones in here and then click on submit. It tells me that's not quite right, but I can click on show correct answer and it tells me where the correct areas were, and I can toggle between the two and see where I've gone wrong. So that one's hidden hotspots. The stacker I'm going to show in this particular course. It's called Becoming an Effective Leader, and it's part of our business skills suite. Sam mentioned that we have quite a few catalogues of courses, and this one is a suite of 13 modules that's aimed at sort of middle management, and it's ILM recommended as well. I also mentioned earlier about the three main elements that make up an ADAPT course. You have the theme and the content, which we've shown. The third element is the graphics, and we're quite lucky at Learning Pool. We've got a great graphics team that help us make really great courses that look really professional and look the part, but you don't necessarily have to be an expert to have a really professional looking course in ADAPT either. We found that a simple, well-placed background image that the content can scroll past, as you can see here, it sort of negates the need for you to have lots and lots of assets, and because creating graphics can be very time consuming. But I'm going to show the stacker component, and it's in section 5 here, and I'll scroll down, and what this component is a two-pronged question component, and it's one that we've developed in-house at Learning Pool and added to our version of the ADAPT Builder. In this example, it's a course basically about management, and you're trying to decide what the biggest costs are for retention of staff. So you've got three options. You basically got to choose the top three highest costs. So it could be recruitment agency fees here, setting up stalls at university job fairs, researching the recruitment processes. So you can just pick one of those, and then the same again for the second one, and then the same again for the third. And we'll leave that one at creating a company page on LinkedIn, and then you can move these into the order that you think they should be in. and then click on submit, and again, gives you the incorrect feedback and the reasons why. But it's very easy to edit that behind the scenes as well. If I go into the edit screen again and scroll down to section 5, and I'll find the stacker within this page, and it's here. Double click on that. Again, you can see it's set up very similar to the hot graphic which we showed earlier. You've got your title, you've got your body field, which in this case is the question stem. You've got the different buttons that are on display, and you can edit the text that appears on those. You've got the different feedback fields, so correct feedback, incorrect, partially correct, and so on. And then you have your 3 items in order, and then within the 3 items you have the 3 options that you as well. So if I edit this option and say change that to create a company page on Facebook instead of LinkedIn, click OK, OK again, and save. And then if I preview that course again, and if the Wi-Fi allows me to do that, that is. Here we go. And I go into section 5 again, and you can use this extension to scroll down to the stacker component. And here you should see where I've changed it to Facebook. So create a company page on Facebook. So it just shows you how quickly it is to edit material as well. And so you can respond to training developments or training requirements very quickly, and you can get your stuff out in quite a short space of time. We have a couple more courses that we want to show you, just to show you a few more of the components that we've been working on recently, and to show you some of the stuff which customers of ours have been working on. Now, this is a customer course. This is created by a fire and rescue service who've been very active with ADAPT. They've created loads and loads of content themselves, and it's used across their entire organisation, really. And they've done a very good version of the branching component. So this course is for fire and rescue service workers who work with, deal with fires or incidents that involve large animals. So they've set up this branching component where the role play is that you've been sent to the scene of an incident, and it tells you that a horse is trapped in a field, and you've got to go through the right steps to make sure that the incident's resolved and that the horse isn't harmed. So the first thing, it asks you what do you want to do first, and first thing that we'll choose here is establish scene safety. So that's telling me well done, and then a bit of feedback saying the reasons why. Then it's asking what I want to do next. So I'll choose head to the scene of operations, and then it's telling me you failed to safely rescue the horse, and then this incredibly sad picture of a horse shedding a tear. We'll go back one step, and then this time we'll click on gather information regarding the incident, and well done, and it tells me the reasons why that's the right answer. And then we head to the scene of operations, and then we find that there's another situation where the farmer has asked that we rescue a colt which has become stuck in a drain, which happens every day, as you know. So what do you do next? Do you perform a rescue, or do you take one of these other steps? Now, I'm no expert on these procedures, but we'll choose mobilize a vet, and then you get your feedback here, and then you need to choose the next option, and we're going to go for establish RVP. It's telling me that that's right, and then we'll go for try perform a rescue, but no, you failed to safely rescue the horse. Go back one step. This time we'll establish an inner cording. Well done. And then finally we'll wait for the response team, and then it's telling me congratulations, you've managed to safely sort the situation out, and then there's a breakdown of all the answers that you gave at each stage. So you can see how different users would pick different paths through, and in this particular example you've always got the option to go back if you get a question wrong and then retry, but you don't necessarily have to set it up that way. In a lot of examples people would just go right to the end, and then you can see the real consequences of what the choices that you've made are. One more I think we're going to show. This is the one that Sam mentioned. This is a customer of ours called eLearning for Health, and they've created this course. This is all their own content as well. It's a really great looking course. It's one that they've done themselves. It's web content that's used to educate parents on various issues. Now they had quite a lot of content for this course, and they really they needed a way to display it in a sort of a logical way without just bombarding the user. So we worked collaboratively with the customer in order to set up this magazine-style menu. So you've got all the different sections, need help now, signposting and links, and then within each section, you've got subsections or pages, and then within each page, you've got the actual content itself. And then you can navigate back via these buttons to the previous level, or you can use the home button to go back to the top. And then there's also this little search function as well, which we've added. So this is an extension that's available in a app builder for everyone to use on any course. So you can enter any search term here, which online, let's go for online, and you can see everywhere where the word online appears, and then you can click on the instance and it'll take you straight to that piece of content. So they actually went away and created this content themselves, but using the tools available to them. And again, it's just an example how working collaboratively can push the tool on and really make good progress with it. So that's some of the basics and some of the stuff that we've been working on as well. I'm going to hand you back to Sam now to wrap up.
As you can see from that example there, that's just stuff that we've recently developed and adapt that we're going to be rolling out to our customers. Eventually, we'll be open sourcing some of this stuff back in, but we're really excited. Not only seeing customers use this as really kind of web-based content, and we're also doing a project in the States with Amway. They have 3 million salespeople. They're rolling out a whole new fragrance line, and they're rolling out product training. But not only is the content not only going to train the 3 million salespeople, but they're going to use that same content as a sales tool. So the salespeople will actually sit down with the content in their hand and sit down with a customer and show the product and talk through the products with them. So you can see the flexibility of the output of the content can be used in so many different reasons. And every day customers are coming to us with new scenarios of, can we use this content to do this? Can we put it here? Can we put it there? And they're solving so many business needs with the content that it is. And because it looks lovely, they can slot it in and it meets their digital guidelines and everything within their organizations. So what's next? So we developed some new stuff. We talked about some of the magazine structure and things. Some of the things that we're really interested in doing and working with the likes of, say, e-learning for health. We talked about, we showed how easy it is to build content in the background, but working with organizations who have multiple authors, sometimes 20, 30, 50, or wanting to go there. There's only 2 L&D people, but the business requires us to create a lot of content that we can't do it. Actually building roles and permissions into the back end of the authoring tool so that you can make it so that you can share courses or allow commenting by a subject matter expert and create workflow around that. That's something that is in our development pipeline to come next. We're also looking at things like gaming and scoreboards. So Owen showed the branching component. Within the branching, we're looking at implementing things like maybe timers, scoring. So if you have a 7-tiered layered branch, different score levels for different levels, and reporting that back to the user. XAPI. We're getting ready to roll this out to beta to some customers. Initially, it's going to be a replacement for SCORM, but really, we're not excited about that. We're excited about using XAPI to actually deliver some value. And what we say about that is about being able to measure some really important stuff within the content. So we talk about things like dwell time. How much time are learners spending on certain pieces of content within there? So they're spending 45 minutes on my content, but they spent a good proportion, say 7 or 8 minutes on one certain component or article or page, and reporting that back. Also reporting back around things like branching. And this branch on this part of the course, people are just going through it once, but on this one over here, they're having 4 or 5 tries at it, and reporting that back. Reporting back where they got stuck on certain things, where they're actually reviewing it and coming back. So that'll be good. We've been working with customers like Facebook and delivered some content in the last year, and multi-language is something that we're working on to deliver, especially with Amway. So we're working on a solution with that. That's in development, that'll be coming. And interactive video. Who here is using more and more video within their content development? Yeah? So initially we're looking at a phased release of this. We've already got mock-ups and wireframed this. We're looking at delivering kind of overlays initially, so you can put labels and then questions over the top of your content. So you have a 2-minute first aid video walking into a room. You can put labels on it and then stop it at 35 seconds and say, what would you do next? And have that embedded in the content. At the moment, you can do it with branching. You could have a video and stop it and then have a question come up if you wanted. But we think it'll be just a real nice user experience having that overlaid in the content. So we're really excited about that. Plus all of the new stuff that the open source community is developing. So we're one of a number of developers globally that are developing into this exciting project, and new stuff is coming all the time. We're looking at smart review, guided review on the back of assessments within the content, and some other good stuff. So if you're interested in getting more involved or taking a look at Adapt, there's a lot of ways you can get involved. You can go to our website, learningpool.com/adapt, and have a read up there. Get involved with the Adapt community. So on adaptlearning.org, that's where a lot of people from instructional designers to techie people are on, having a look from all sorts of different things. Or you can come and talk to us. We're back there at stand right behind us. If you want to have a look at the Adapt Builder or have some questions about it, we can give you a little demo over there. One of the things we talked about at last Learning Tech was that we were going to make a free version available of Adapt. It is here. There is a free version available for Adapt. If you go to adaptbuilder.io, there's a hosted free version that you can log into, input your details, and have a play around with it. And that's good for you for life. So we think that's kind of nice. Yeah? So that is us. You can contact us also, Twitter, email, website. Have a go at us. Have a chat. Come and talk to us. So thank you very much. And we'll stand up here or come back to our stand and ask if you have any questions. All right? Thank you.